Ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic Party wants to impeach President Trump. They want to impeach President Trump. They want to impeach him. They don't care. The whole thing with Trump, Russia, him working with Vladimir Putin to infiltrate the DNC, to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, and undermine poor Madam Cyberhack because they were so fearful of her, even though they received 20% of U.S. uranium capacity under President Obama. And Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin at his home. Oh, thank you so much, Vlad. That was a fun time. You think that he was so afraid of Hillary that he hacked the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, while at the same time buying Facebook ads to influence people in swing states, even though Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. The whole thing is absurd. But now they still want to impeach him. They didn't get what they wanted. They spent 2 years. No collusion, no obstruction. And here, this is Congressman Nadler. Quote, you can commit shameful acts. You can commit complete betrayals of the public interest without committing impeachable acts, Nadler said, and if you do that, the public ought to know that too. And the standard here is not an impeachment. The standard is we have to protect the public from presidential misconduct. The standard here is not an impeachment. There could be grounds for impeachment. There could be grounds for other actions. There could be, and there could be things the American people ought to know. He's trying to say, well, even if there's no collusion, we still have enough. We still have enough for impeachment. And if you did that, the public ought to know that too. The standard is we have to protect the public from presidential misconduct. What was the misconduct? What did he do wrong? Tell me what he did wrong. Firing James Comey? No, that was great. What did he do wrong? Comey's going to be on a criminal indictment or criminal charges will be referred to William Barr. Asked about what the report might contain, Nadler said there could be grounds for impeachment. There could be grounds for other actions. There could be things the American people ought to know. Then he goes, you can commit shameful acts. You can commit complete betrayals of the public trust without committing impeachable acts. And if you do that, the public ought to know that too. And the standard here is not an impeachment. The standard is we have to protect the public from the presidential misconduct. Why is he bringing up impeachment? He's saying, well, even if we can't impeach, it might not be impeachable, but it's still horrific. And oh, by the way, we could still impeach. It's kind of like when Clinton says, I'm not running, I am running, I am running, I am not running. I have the door open, the door is shut a little bit. I didn't want to keep the door completely locked. It's a little bit open here. We can see through the keyhole. It's okay. They want to impeach President Trump because they didn't get what they purchased. They purchased an investigation. Hillary purchased an investigation for 2 years. 2 years. They just didn't get what they purchased. They didn't get what they paid for. The Steele dossier was paid for by you-know-who. CrowdStrike was outsourced by you-know-who. The Democratic Party and Clinton, they purchased their own investigation for 2 years. We had to hear from CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, any day now. This is a huge deal. This is oh my God, this is, such a big deal, such an enormous issue. We have to investigate this cash flow to Clinton Foundation and Mid-Russian uranium deal. You want to talk about that or no? No. There's nothing there. You can't prove anything, they say. You can't prove not even one thing. Where's the letter saying that Clinton wanted to sell uranium to Putin? Where's that letter? Well, money flowed into the Clinton Foundation from Uranium One executives. You can't prove anything. They were altruistic. Okay. Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin. Well, they were friends from when he was president. You can't prove anything. He had a $500,000 speaking engagement right after that. Yellow cake uranium was shipped out of the country. We have a FBI informant, William D. Campbell. So they're going back and forth because they know they have nothing now. So what they're going to do is, the Mueller probe ended. It concluded with no obstruction, no collusion. There are no further indictments. They have spent 2 years. The media is at an all-time low in terms of trustworthiness and its public image. The Democratic Party is running on fumes. They won the House only because they promised policy objectives that are not feasible. And if I'm wrong, how come they're not voting on it? Why aren't they voting on Medicare for All? Because they have no intention of doing so. They have zero intention. It's April 8th. Congressman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has stated people are losing their lives. Well, then vote on a bill to save people's lives. Oh, that's right. You're on Twitch. You're going to IKEA. You're funneling money from a PAC into LLCs, potentially, possibly. Doing all the preaching, the sermons, the sermons. Oh my God. But you're not. What happened to abolish ICE? Did that work out? No. It's April 8th. When I was on RT's Crosstalk with Peter Lavelle, we were talking. It was about AOC, the whole the AOC phenomenon, and I was like, look, she hasn't introduced any bills, and then immediately, like, some people in the comments were like, well, it was just only been there for 3 weeks, and then one of the latest comments was, oh, she's introduced the most ambitious legislation. The AFL-CIO doesn't. In addition to the Amazon debacle, with, don't say 25,000, it's 107,000 direct and indirect jobs. The rebuttal is rents would go up. I mean, yeah, but the average income would go up also. And people would be hired from the community. It wasn't just 25,000 people being relocated into New York. And anyway, even if that were the case, it was the headquarters, the Amazon headquarters, was going to be built for a capacity of over 40,000 people. But it's 107,000 direct and indirect jobs. You're talking about food trucks, mom and pop restaurants, dry cleaners. I mean, it's an economy is an ecosystem. That's why Democrats don't focus on economic growth. We have more people, we have more job openings than people looking for work. This hasn't happened in decades. Did not happen during President Obama's administration. We have the beginning of peace between North and South Korea. He wants to bring home Americans. So, I mean, he's objectively a very good president. He's going up against a crooked, corrupt a bunch of intelligence officials who fabricated this nonsensical narrative. I mean, the whole thing was, well, you know, he worked with Russia to deceive people in the election. It's like, no, he didn't. There's not a shred of evidence there. Well, why did this person lie to the FBI? Well, if the FBI wants to get you in some kind of perjury trap or some kind of, oh, what did you speak to that person about? Well, I spoke to this person about this and that. Oh, you didn't speak. You talked about another issue. Oh, you lied. We got you online at the FBI. It's a process crime. It has nothing to do with, you didn't tell the truth about why you shoved a laptop in the mail with classified intelligence. Which is what Clinton did. Why utilize private servers, which is what Clinton did. Why would you do these things? Why would you own private servers? Why would you transfer top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government? Why would you do that? That's what Clinton did. So, and she, Peter Strzok interviewed her, but also said, we'll stop Trump. So there are criminal referrals out now. And Strzok, Comey, McCabe, Brennan, all of these people will be under criminal investigation because they all contradicted one another. Lisa Page probably was a wealth of information. They conspired against the United States government. What they did was they utilized the Steele dossier, a ridiculous conversation that allegedly took place that Alexander Dumbo Downer talked about regarding Papadopoulos and who he met with and all that stuff, which is nonsense. And led to nothing. They have nothing, but they've convinced themselves on Twitter that they have something, and oh my God, they're like the defenders of everything good. And when people get indicted eventually, because it'll be the same, it'll be a replay of 2016. Clinton will eventually run. She'll eventually state that she's running, and oh my God, be here on the live stream when it happens. Watch the upload when I say, I told you. She's running. Just like I said, the Mueller probe would lead to nothing. Just like I said, Clinton would lose in 2015. I'm not right about everything, but I have a pulse of what's going on. She's running again. It'll be the same thing all over again. She's running. There will be parallel investigations of people who did everything possible to fabricate investigations of Trump and cover up Clinton's actual crimes. So essentially, she'll either be under investigation herself, or people around her or linked to her, like Comey, will be under investigation. Andrew McCabe, and James Baker are already under investigation. And she'll lose again. But it'll be the same thing all over again. Nadler assured some of Mueller's report wouldn't leak. Giuliani fine with full release. So the committee has a very good record of protecting information which it decides to protect. So there you go. I mean, the Democrats are wielding power they're wielding power in the exact way the Republicans wielded power, almost the exact way, except Republicans didn't fabricate 2 years worth of investigations based on a dossier purchased by a Republican. But they're wielding power and influence in the same manner that the GOP did when President Obama was in office. They're trying any possible way to undermine the president. They don't even view Trump as a president. They're petulant, and they just want to undermine him in any way possible. So even if they didn't get what they wanted in terms of collusion, because there was nothing, they convinced themselves that the Steele dossier, that CrowdStrike, that a Papadopoulos conversation, that indictments that have nothing to do with that narrative means that they were onto something. Somebody said, well, who was it? Like, I think it was Chelsea Handler. She said, I love what Mueller stands for. What does Mueller stand for? Yellow cake uranium being shipped out of the country? Under his watch, yellow cake uranium was shipped out of the country. That's, according to the New York Times article, cash flow to Clinton Foundation amid Russian uranium deal. I mean, my God, it's like there are two realities. It's like an alternate universe here. There are realities of life that there are two different realities. One is the MSNBC CNN world that every single time their fantasies come crashing down, whether it's Hillary 2016 or Trump Russia, or Trump impeachment, or eventually Trump 2020, he'll win. They just rebound and regroup, and they're smiling again, and they're confident again on CNN and MSN. Oh my God, it's just Trump is just a horrible person. He represents something. He represents this, not actual tangible issues like, he signed prison reform legislation. The economy is doing well. Foreign policy is far better than President Obama's foreign policy. Far better. President Obama destroyed the country of Libya with a failed NATO intervention, military intervention. But it's like they can't focus on, they just can't focus on that. They have to fabricate what Trump is linked to, what he represents. Because if they focus on tangible issues, they lose. That's why when you debate anyone regarding Trump, it's like so emotional on their end without any specific, well, he said this and he said that and he said this. Well, no, those are from anonymous New York Times sources. Well, he represents this and this euphemism and this phrase and this, it's like, well, if you can't state that Trump actually did something wrong and you just focus on a tweet or you focus on what you think he represents, this grandiose political theory over here, and he represents that, and he emboldens that, well, you're not really arguing that Trump is a bad president. Look at the reality of what's taking place. Record low Black and Latino unemployment. Excellent economy. 467,000 plus, close to 500,000 manufacturing jobs created. And we can go on and on. But they don't care. They want to impeach him. It's not even about, look, he's doing objectively a very good job as president, but it's not about that. They don't care. They don't care about that. They don't care about that. They simply want to remove Trump from office because they want political power back. And it's Hillary, basically. It's the Hillary show. She's running again, and just, what was it, like, Trump's going to raise $1 billion. Let's see. She raised $1.2 billion. You think they're going to even get close to $1.2 billion with Amy Klobuchar or Biden or anyone else? No. Trump billion. Donald Trump set for historic $1 billion fundraising 2020 re-election campaign. Okay. He might get the popular vote. But the popular vote is a function of money spent. Clinton won the popular vote. She outspent him 2-1, and she only won by 3 million votes? She outspent him 2-1. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. They want to impeach him. They don't know on what yet, but they definitely want to impeach him. Check out HA2A. That's below my firearms channel. And also my writing in the Federalist. Share that. My latest article, General Michael Flynn should be, President Trump should pardon Michael Flynn. Share that everywhere. Thank you. So this week's going to be an amazing week. We got criminal referrals coming. You're talking Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Brennan. Check out my segment prior to this one. That'll be below in the description. This is a huge week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.